What's up, y'all? We are back. This is episode 4 of the Miami Marlins out of the Park Baseball 25 series. We're here, the start of the offseason in 2025 or 2024, going into the 2025 season, couple pieces of news around the league. The league will expand. They're going to choose expansion teams today. I had to stop simulating because of this trade offer that I got that I think I'm going to do. We'll get to that in a second, though. So I did go and clear out a lot of my staff. These guys just weren't up to the caliber that I think we should have. Our pitching coach and bench area hitting coach both got fired. We're going to get a new scout. Our scout was fine. He favored tools, and he was pretty good, which is why I kept him. But I'm going for more of a guy my style. I forgot who the offer was for. We have a bunch of offers out right now, but we're picking up a team trainer that's a bit better at preventing injuries. We didn't have a ton of injuries last year or anything, but it's still good to have that. We are going to keep most of the rest of the staff on. Skip Schumacher, really excellent coach. So we're going to keep him on for another season. Did have a rough year, but I don't think it was necessarily his fault. We just didn't have a ton of roster talent. And we're going to, move on with him as our manager. So let's go through kind of the long-term outlook of this team. So these are really the only three guys that are locked into starting jobs next year, which is pretty crazy. Brian De La Cruz would have been, but he had a really bad end of the season. Doesn't play great defensive outfield. Isn't the best hitter. He could still be a starter, but he's not a guy who's necessarily locked in. Same with Jesus Sanchez, who had a fine season as well. I do like his bat a little bit more, and he's probably more likely for a long-term role than De La Cruz, but it's going to be a mismatch of the rest of these guys fighting for those other two spots in DH. As for the infield, it's Ortega at shortstop and then Arise at first. And, Arise isn't even really a dream first baseman for me. I'd rather have someone who could provide a little bit of pop. But, he's a really good player. Under contract for one more season. Maybe he gets traded this offseason, but I'd have to be blown away by an offer or a package of prospects or, major league ready talent to want to go on from him. Will Banfield is locked into catcher at the moment, but I'll show the trade that I think we're going to do here. And it might seem like a lateral move somewhat, and we are giving up Thomas White, who's just outside of the top 100 in prospects. Was there an update to the list at all? So he's still 106. Duncan Marston does slot in at number 70. He was our first-round pick last year. So we're up to 22nd in farm system stuff. But, just outside top 100 prospect. I like him, but a three-pitch guy, questionable control, no really like groundbreaking tools. Did pitch well in rookie ball and A ball in his age 19-year-old season, but I think we have an opportunity to really upgrade a catcher, and I kind of talked about how if we had a really good defensive team and a really good catcher, especially framing, that this rotation could be absolutely dominant moving forward. And I think Patrick Bailey is exactly that. He's 25 years old, only 2 years of major league service time, so we have him for 4 seasons, hasn't even hit arbitration yet. Has a 75 framing, which is just fantastic. He's going to be cheap. And, Will Banfield's a fine defensive catcher in his own right, but he's more arm-oriented than framing. Like, if he had the 70 framing instead of the 70 arm, I would totally keep him. I wouldn't be giving up a top 100 prospects for, along with him to just upgrade marginally. But, the framing is important for what we're trying to do here, I think. So, I think this makes a ton of sense for us. Thomas White is a lot to give up in this deal, but, if I take White out, they're really not that interested. Noble Meyer is a top 60 guy, top 75 guy. And I do like him a lot more because he has some upside as a reliever if we were to put him in that role long term. Not so much with Thomas White. So I think this will be our first trade of the offseason. It'll be Thomas White and Will Banfield for Patrick Bailey, which, again, this trade came up as an offer to me, and I could not replicate it if I tried to, play around with the players and stuff. So we'll just accept it as is. We don't have a scout, so it's a little sketchy doing a trade like this, but, we'll see how it works out. We'll see. Our fans do very much like that we picked up Patrick Bailey, so one of our owner goals this offseason was to improve our attendance, and I think Patrick Bailey will be a nice part of that. So I guess while we're at that, I had a season score of 2, which may be just the worst I've ever had. And let's look at the new budget: $85 million in payroll, just abysmal. But we don't have a ton of money on the books, so we're good with that. They want us to play 500 ball, acquire an MVP, which I think we could do. We'll get to that maybe later in the offseason, but I think that'd be a cool goal to do. Increase attendance by 6,000 almost, or whatever, 5,300. Find a top 20 prospect. I'm not sure if we can do that, but we'll have a high pick in this draft. I don't think the lottery's happened yet, so once the lottery hits, we can see. But I think we can get a top 20 prospect. Build a top 6 minor league system. That's going to be tough. And then they want us to reach the World Series in the next 4 seasons. So, yeah, some tough goals there. But, I'm going to let's sim a day. I do want to get our new scout in the building before I start doing any development stuff. I did put, I think it was Yuri Perez in the lab already. He's going to work on his stamina. And new expansion teams, we have the Jacksonville Centaurs, and the San Antonio Lobos. Yikes. Some weird names, but no worries. Looks like Camilo Doval's going to the Dodgers for Andy Pages and Kristen Newell. Interesting. Giants were definitely in buy mode this trade deadline, so for them to kind of blow it up is very interesting. So have we signed our scout yet? It's kind of what I'm waiting on here to do anything else. And Sandy's ahead of schedule. Cool. About a week and a half ahead of schedule, but we'll take it anyway. He will be back very shortly and should be ready for opening day. Looks like the Dodgers also got Ryan McMahon. Okay, we have a scout now. That's good. I mean, they're going to all be like average scouting, but that's fine with me. So let's head to the lab. Again, we already have Yuri Perez in there. And I hope, okay, good. We could still do the long-term ones. I was a little concerned about that, but yeah, he is frustrated. Endurance. I want to get his stamina up. He's only at a 55. I think if he was able to tick up to a 60 or 65, he can be like a total workhorse, like him and Alcantara, throwing this team on their back for the next few years. All right, so other guys we want to focus on. I think Ortega is one. Well, what do we want to do exactly with him? That's the question. So, we could probably add a little bit of power. I think that would be useful, just to kind of raise his floor as a hitter. The defense is going to be there. I think it's bat speed, right? Power potential, yeah. Yeah, I think getting Ortega a little bit more power, I think that's that'd be a good route to take here. We could also play with his development a bit. Keep his defense is an important thing. Don't really care about gap too much. Let's work on the power and the eye. Just try to have him hone on some of those skills. So Victor Mesa Jr. kind of came along in his development this season overall. He might come into the year as our starting center fielder. But, I mean, I think he's a pretty well-rounded player. I don't think there's much we can do to improve his floor as a player. He has great range. This bat will definitely play. He can be a 90 WRC plus guy. Put up 3 WAR for us. I don't really see the need to try to play with him at this point. But I would like to go to our prospects because I believe we had drafted a few guys. I have to try to refresh my memory on this that I wanted to put in the lab. Actually, okay, one of them was where the heck is he? The reliever that we got at the deadline. I think I sent him down. Yeah, Joe Boyle. He's a guy I really like. And I'm not going to use him as a starter, most likely. But if we can improve his control, I think he could be absolutely lights out. So let's work on improving his control. We'll see if you can figure that out. It's always difficult to do this kind of stuff, but okay. And then I have to figure out what the heck these other things were. Let me go off camera really quick, poke through, and see what else we have here for potential development improvements. Okay, so it came back to me. So it was Rodney Green, who we drafted in the 4th round. This huge power potential. I was concerned about his contact, avoid Ks and stuff, so we're going to wind up working on his 2-strike approach, try to cut down on strikeouts. Fabian Lopez is a guy in the system, great defense, pretty decent upside with the bat as well, but he does lack power. So we're going to work on trying to get him a little more bat speed. Same with Ortega. These guys are kind of similar builds in a way. Lopez just kind of ticked down a couple notches. And then Conrad Kaysen, who was a 2nd-round pick for us. I think I realized that he was a good pitcher, but, this is a legit arm upside. But I do like his bat a lot more than his pitching. So we're going to hone in on that. We're going to try to improve his plate discipline. It's something that's medium difficulty for him. It's not necessarily hard. We have a lot more, high upside, or I guess more difficult things to do here. So, with Kaysen, I hope the medium difficulty is good enough to improve this eye, which is a little bit questionable for him at the moment. But if you can get this up to a 55, this is a legit player. Then maybe next year we work on his power. So we're going to go with these 5-6 guys, and we'll keep updating as the offseason goes on. And then I think I already cleared out. There weren't a ton of guys I didn't want on my team coming next year. I think Jonah Bride might be a guy we either non-tender or look to trade if he has any value. And then, I'm going to look around, see what we can do to clear up this some of this money, just, marginally, of course. But we'll be back with an update. All right, so one of the nice things about having a bad team and an expansion draft coming is that we were pretty much able to protect everyone. That was important. The expansion draft is tomorrow. So let's run through, just see pretty much if anyone gets picked from our team. Nick Prado, Shane Baz. Wow. All right, well, I think there's any chance Tampa Bay leaves him unprotected. Also, what the heck did that say? Oh, yeah, they need to run through the draft. Okay. So, let's see if anyone from our team gets picked. Yeah, Nick Prado going number 1 over Shane Baz is absolutely crazy to me, but Taj Bradley, my God. What the hell, Tampa? And what the hell, San Antonio? Jacksonville's got back-to-back picks. They get the 2 best players in this draft. Oh my God. And they grab Ben Brown. What the hell? Oh my God. Oh, San Antonio got absolutely worked in this draft. So did anyone from our team get picked? Not seeing anyone. No longer with the team. Yeah, I mean, I figure it would have sent an email if someone got picked, which didn't look like anyone did. So cool. So we keep everyone. And yeah, that's the only update with that. Checking out the lab. Bunch of guys frustrated, struggling. Rodney Green is excelling though, so that's big. If he can get some avoid Ks, get that up to a 45, that contact ticks up to a 45, 50. I mean, could be a legit player. Could absolutely be. You know, we'll see. We're still pretty early into these, about a month in. Is that it? I think that's it. Free agency is a few days away. I guess we can check that out. Or did it already start? It might have already started. It did. Okay. The draft got me distracted. So, I mean, a ton of good arms at the top here. Max Fried, Blake Snell, Shane Bieber. Bieber wound up getting traded mid-season. And if you look at all players, you know, I saw Juan Soto. I mean, do you want to come to Miami, Juan? Yeah. It's going to price us out, I think. Did someone offer him a deal already? I mean, it's Juan Soto. I mean, no. 3 a 10-year deal, 25 per. That's too many zeros. He wants a shorter term. Okay, so what about 27 for 8? Yeah. Okay, we're not gonna be able to afford him, unfortunately. Not surprising, but okay. So this is where GMs make their money. Then you have a limited payroll, a ton of holes to fill. How do you do it? So we have 13 guys on this team. Garcia might just wind up getting cut before the season. He only has 1 year left. Team option. It's a $0 buyout, so that's not a huge deal. Or we could trade him and see if anyone wants him if we get his entire deal. I don't even know if that's realistic, honestly. All right, let's get rid of all these bad contracts. Yeah. All right, we're just going to have to wind up releasing him, I think. But we'll deal with that when we have a roster crunch. But so I think Victor Mesa Jr. at the moment is going to slot into center. He did lose some range, unfortunately. But with his speed, and he doesn't really have that much speed either. Could always put Jazz back in center, but I'd rather not. And then, you know, these guys will, honestly, even with Mesa, these guys will kind of fight out for playing time. I think the outfield, we can make these guys work. Nothing that's very exciting, but the infield definitely needs some upgrades. Casey Schmidt played fine enough that I'm okay with him at third. Jacob Amaya did not impress. Xavier Edwards certainly did not impress. Yeah, this is tough, man. This is tough. The toughest part is I don't even know where to start. Let me go off camera and make some offers. I think our rotation and pitching staff is set for the most part. Maybe we can add a reliever, but I don't even think it's really necessary. I think we have enough guys here to fill out a team. So yeah, let me go make a couple offers, see what we can do, and we'll be back. All right, we are back. It's about a week since I recorded this. So busy. Very hectic. As you can see, I have a new haircut from the last video. I am very much hoping that I can start doing more. My schedule's gotten a little less busy, so I'm hoping, you know, more than one video a week moving forward, maybe 2. But I am going to Atlanta on Wednesday, and then a bachelor party in Florida Thursday to Sunday. So I'm recording this on June 1st. So I'm hoping, you know, Monday or Tuesday I can squeak in a recording session, but have a couple softball games those days as well, including my full-time job. So, all right. Anyway, we made a couple trades off camera.
So I actually have to go refresh myself on what happened with these. Let's go to the transaction log. So we did wind up releasing Avisail Garcia. He just didn't really have a spot on this team. His contract was up after this year anyway. There was just really no signs of life from him after a decent start. Only 7 home runs and 387 plate appearances. Just really a brutal season and a brutal signing from the Marlins. It hasn't worked out much better in real life for them. So, a couple trades. So, Jake Thompson, a guy I kind of like. He actually has some outfield ratings. He was a first baseman for me in my system. But I do like him. But we have a lot of corner outfielders. Didn't play too well when I did call him up. He's a first base corner outfield type. We have a bunch of those. So I went and flipped him for kind of a position of need. Rio Hirano, who looks like, let's see, what happened? He joined the AAA team for, what team is this? Jacksonville Centaurs, which is the expansion team. So they picked him up somehow. And he's a pretty decent player. The eye needs some work, but has some pop. Decent hitter. Probably could be like a 90 WRC plus guy. Do need to scout him a bit. Low leader, but, really good infield range. He's going to be my starting second baseman, I think, at this point. I like the defense. We're going for a defensive approach until we can get some good hitters in the building. So we flipped Jake Thompson for him. Second trade was Torrin Montgomery. Another one of these first baseman types that we have a ton of. Doesn't have a ton of pop. So we flipped him to the Rockies for Brenton Doyle, who a really good defensive outfielder. The bat needs some work. Only had a 40 WRC plus last year. He's got to improve on that. But has some upside with some good running ability, some good range, great arm. He'll be my starting center fielder next season. So we're going for a defensive approach. Hitting's kind of expensive when you're going out in the open market. So, kind of to counter that, we're going to go all pitching, all defense kind of. So Chisholm will shift to right. I'm pretty sure he can be an awesome defensive right fielder. We'll still have Jesus Sanchez out and left. He's fine out there. He's not going to win any Gold Gloves most likely, but the 55 outfield range definitely plays in left field. We'll have Ortega at short. We'll update on the player development lab really quick after this. And then Casey Schmitz tentatively slotted in at third, mostly because he has really good defense over there. The bat was okay last year. I think he can improve on this. Maybe I should have sent him to the lab to work on his power, just in hindsight. But, I think he could be a fine third baseman. We'll have Hirano at second and Arise at first. So, we didn't really add any power this offseason. Jazz is still probably our best power hitter, him and Jesus Sanchez. But, with Patrick Bailey back here too, I think we have a pretty good defensive team. Well, actually an excellent defensive team. We're going to bring in a DH. Maybe that's Elliot Ramos. He had a really, really good run at the end of the year for us. So he'll definitely compete for some playing time. Victor Mesa Jr., another guy who I'd like to get some at-bats for, but I kind of see him as a platoon guy, maybe with Brenton Doyle out in center. Maybe not true platoon, but, Mesa will definitely mix in center. Dane Myers, another guy I like, has a little bit of pop relative to the rest of our team. Maybe more of a corner outfielder type, though. He's probably a fifth outfielder. And Brian De La Cruz, we'll have to make a decision on him. Had a nice season last year, but, I think we can do better. I think if we were to play our opening day today, it'd be Ramos and De La Cruz kind of fighting for DH at-bats. And we still have Jacob Amaya. Really disappointing year last year as we slotted him in at first or at shortstop, but I think he'd be a good, useful utility infielder for us. And then Xavier Edwards, kind of same story. Really struggled last year. 10 extra base hits and 345 plate appearances is just brutal. So he's a singles merchant, not dissimilar from Luis Ariz, just 70% of Luis Ariz basically. That actually brings no power. At least Ariz brought some power last year. a better defender than Arise. And I'm going to work on him in some outfield because he does have some good outfield rating. 65 range, can definitely fill in center field if we need him. So, maybe a super utility guy in his future. So that's what the team looks like right now. The pitching hasn't undergone any changes at all. I don't think we've even touched this. I think we're in good shape pitching wise. Maybe we bring in one more reliever, but I don't even know who we would move out at this point. We are getting Brazaban back next year, which will be, hopefully a nice addition. We'll see. The jury's still out on him. I think he'd be a good reliever, but we will see. He's 35 years old at this point, so decline could be in his future. But I think we're in really good shape. We're kind of building this team with defense in mind. So really the only other thing that I want to do is add a true DH, a guy with actual hitting ability. We did offer a contract to Austin Meadows, who I think can fill that role. He didn't want a ton of money, played for the Dodgers last year, wasn't very good, so his demand is low. But he's also a leader, good work ethic, only 29. So a guy who I think can fill in the corner outfield, play some DH for us, and slot into the middle of our order. Ideally he's like a 6 or 7 hitter, but that's just kind of how it worked out for us. We offered some minor league deals to some other guys just to fill out our minor league teams. Clark Schmidt's an interesting one. He didn't really want any money. Coming off a rough season for the Yanks, really rough season. But I think that home run per 9 can definitely come down. And if that's the case, even this comes down to 1.5 home runs per 9. This is a really good, FIP metric, I guess. We'll see what happens with Clark. Just kind of pitching depth. Nicky Lopez, defensive wizard. Going to bring him in. Jace Peterson, good defensive versatility, good leader, good guy to have in the clubhouse. Not a bad player either. We offered a contract to this guy, Davey Grillian. Doesn't have much defensive ability, but I think, he could be a good AAA or AA catcher, first base, DH type of guy. And Paul DeYoung, just another good guy to have in the system. So those are some minor league deals we threw out there. Mauricio Blanco, 27-year-old, tough control. But everything else looks good. So if we can tap into that control, maybe boost him up a bit, we can be in good shape. So into the development lab, not looking great right now. Rodney Green, looking good to improve his avoid Ks, which is, this is one of the guys that I was really focused on. 4th round pick. I thought he had a ton of upside if he could just increase his contact just a bit. And right now he's on track to get that. Everyone else is frustrated at the moment. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to fail, but I'm hoping for 2 out of 6, maybe 3 out of 6. That'd be great. A 50% hit rate would be amazing. I'm not sure which one of these guys could possibly pull through. But we'll see as we move further into the offseason about that. I think that's about it to update on. We'll see where all of these guys wind up signing. We can check out the trade block just to see if there's anyone available. Ryan Helsley would be great to bring in. Unfortunately, he's hurt. I can't trade for him at the moment. Chris Paddock, a really good arm, coming off a decent season from Minnesota. We don't really need any more pitching, but Adolis Garcia on the block. Didn't have a great year, but a good defensive right fielder, has some pop. Would be a nice guy to bring in. He's making a bit of money, so we'd have to have them retain a bit. See, 35%. Okay, they want some real players, though. They're going to want something. Braxton Garrett, I'm not opposed to trading, but I kind of want to keep him. I think he probably has the inside track to the 5th starter spot. We'll see. Looking through the rest of these guys, Steven Strasburg's still kicking. Wonder if he ever makes a comeback. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far in this game. A couple years in, see if he just retires every time or if he comes back. besides that, this guy's interesting. Tommy Gaines has some pop, ton of strikeout issues. Another guy who was just generated and put on their minor league team. Yeah, so they're willing to take him for anything. Kind of like that. I feel a little bit weird doing this, but he's 26 years old. Yeah, you know what? I might pull the trigger on this. I still have hope for Sixto. I'm not going to trade him yet. We're going to work on him in the bullpen. See if he can develop into like a good long man, maybe a spot starter. No, I'm not ready to give up on him yet, so I'm not going to trade him in this deal. Maybe Josh McCambly coming off a rough year in AAA. The fifth, I guess it is as bad. Just too many home runs given up. He's 25. He's definitely a guy I would look to move. Diego Infante, not a great defensive outfielder. Struggled mightily in AAA a couple of years ago. Only got 2 at-bats. Not sure what that's about. Yeah, you know what? We'll flip Diego Infante. Has a little bit of more contact. This isn't a crazy trade by any means, Similar ages, similar development, but this guy's more contact-oriented. Probably has a better floor. But Tommy Gaines, much better upside, I'd say. So let's just go through with this. Why not? But I'm going to avoid doing that too much because I've already done that twice. So let's move Gaines to AAA. He'll be an option at some point this year, I'm guessing. Blake Snell went to New York. I feel like he always winds up there. Let's go to the rest of the offseason and see what else has happened so far. Not many signings, just some minor things. So the Yankees went Blake Snell over Juan Soto. If that happened in real life, I'd cry. Ryan Burgett, I feel like he's a guy I've looked at. Was he on my list? I think he was on the list of players that I liked that were being offered up. Definitely not for Jazz, though. I mean, I would look to trade Jazz, but not at this point yet. Another trade. Might have to turn these off because this just gets obnoxious. Joshua Mears, big power. I think he almost worked out in my... I think he might have worked out, I should say, if we continued the Padres series. Is Jazz like... People are looking to trade for Jazz right now? It looks like it. So De Los Santos... Oh, yeah, I offered him a deal, too. Duh. I don't even think I mentioned that. But yeah, he's the guy I would like to bring in. Cheap reliever. They're saying he's a starter. I would never start a guy with 35 stamina personally, but it's just me. Max Fried to St. Louis. Interesting. Clark likes our deal, so the Padres going after Jazz pretty aggressively here. I'm not opposed to talk and trade, but he's got a couple years of control left. I'm not really in a hurry to trade him, and certainly not for this package. But if you're talking, probably. I mean, I'm not getting Ethan Salas. No way. Looking like a stud, of course. Although had some big strikeout issues in AA. DeVries, I like him a lot. I don't think we're getting him. Probably not. John Doe is a guy I actually liked in the draft when we were going through that. Mike Sirota, ooh, interesting player, 21 years old. Okay, he's recently drafted. Nathan Martorella, a guy I also like. I think he had a bright future. They'll do that straight up. I don't really think we need a first baseman, though, at the moment. This guy's interesting. 25 years old. Interesting. What the heck? He just doesn't have a defensive home. That's his only issue, which is kind of a no-go for me. I need some guys with defensive versatility. Yeah, maybe we come back to the Padres later in the offseason. But we'll get to that. I'll hop off, sim a little bit, see what happens. We'll be back. All right, so we're here at the Rule 5 draft. We're going to take Joe Gray. Kind kind of breaking my rules. Not really, though. This is a guy who would realistically be taken in the Rule 5 draft. Played in the minors for, 6 years at this point. Even though he's 24, I think my cutoff's usually 25. This feels like a guy who would actually be taken in the Rule 5 draft. Kind of just blocked, but honestly, some good upside, good outfield defense, decent speed. We have the first pick. So we had the worst record in the league. I didn't even realize that. Although I wonder, I don't know why they got sent to the bottom. That's weird. I didn't even do that, but whatever. We're gonna take Joe Gray. So no one got picked. We do have a second pick. And I was looking at this guy, Eliezer Alfonso. We don't have a backup catcher at the moment. Just Patrick Bailey. He doesn't necessarily bring the defense, but absolutely raked in Double-A. 3.2 WAR. Triple-A was not horrible. The WRC Plus didn't look great, but I think he'd be a viable backup catcher. So we're going to take Alfonso here, 25-year-old. Definitely a guy who could be taken in a real draft. So we'll complete the rest of the draft here. So the Angels picked in the 4th round there. Took Giovanni Moran. Interesting. That's weird. There's no way he's only been in the majors for 127 days, but that makes no sense. That Major League service time is off, but no worries. Yeah, a lot of good picks. I just wasn't looking at pitcher, but, a good pick by the Rockies here. Ian Seymour, another good pick, 26 years old. Yeah, a lot of decent picks. I'll say that. Mark Payton, 33-year-old, being selected. Still wish they fixed the logic a little bit. Trey Sweeney. I guess I didn't go down that far to see him there, but a really good player. Diamondbacks got a good one. Luke Weaver got picked. Interesting. Rockies going pitching heavy. Jimmy Joyce as well. And they also took Jacob Lopez. Holy crap. So the Rockies throwing a bunch of darts in the Rule 5 draft. Good for them. We'll be back. Another update soon. Okay, so we are here. Preseason begins today. And a little update on the development. Yuri Perez now on track. Endurance training. Just improved the stamina just a bit. Rodney Green still on track to improve his avoiding Ks. And Fabian Lopez generating bat speed, which improves his power. Going to be huge for his long-term upside as a shortstop. And he's on track for that. Conrad Kaysen, Joe Boyle, and Everson Arteaga still frustrated, but that could also change. Any of this could change at any moment, but 5 to 6 weeks left for most of these guys. Yuri, 4 to 5, just because we started him a bit early. But yeah, we did wind up signing Austin Meadows. We are incredibly lefty-heavy in this lineup, which is not something I really realized at the time. But we have platoon options, so Ramos, De La Cruz, I have them tentatively slotted in to start against lefties. So makes it a little more balanced against that side. Against lefties. Just say that. We also signed Aniel De Los Santos. Pretty cheap deal for a good reliever. We'll see how he works out. He had a good year last year for San Diego. Did have to make a couple minor moves. We DFA'd Brian Hoeing, who pitched quite a bit for us last year, 18 innings. Pitched pretty well in AAA as well. But, yeah, he'll hang around. He did not get claimed then. Husker Brazoban, still out for 6 weeks. But we waived him to open up another 40-man spot. He has 4 days left, actually, so we can now place him on the 60. And we can do that with a couple other guys just to clear up some roster spots. AJ Puck will be back in 5 weeks, so I'm not going to throw him in the IL yet. He could be back for spring training. And then, let's see. Internationals, I think should... When the heck does that happen? Is that February? Or did that already start and I missed it? There's his pictures. Okay. So that must have started a few days ago. I just didn't even realize it. I don't even know. It doesn't come up on the calendar. That's bizarre, but... Did it start yet? Okay, it did. Yeah, I don't know when it did. I might have started today, actually. But anyway, all the guys are here, so... So, guys that we have... All these guys are pretty much average scouting. I definitely scouted people, but, you know, we'll go through and see which guys we like. There was a shortstop, I believe, that was insane. This guy is insane, too. The stamina's a little shaky. I believe there was a shortstop I liked. Yes, this guy, Luis Herrera. Good work ethic, low leader, low intelligence. Not a great build by any means, but, you know. We have 4.75 to spend. Let's go to 4 and see how it goes. You know, let's go to... Let's throw in the max. Is that too many zeros? It is too many zeros. Okay. Let's see what happens. I really like him. He looks like a total stud. Again, someone could just match us and we'd be screwed. And that's what's going to happen. New York matched us. I don't know where we stand in regards to money. Yeah, everyone's about the same. So if we were able to get a little bit of cash, we can work our way back into this. So, shed a curiosity. I mean, all we need is like $1, honestly, and that would get it done. Just looking for anyone who I can add international money to. Might just be the Diamondbacks here. So let's see if we can get the 70K somehow. They want Junior Marino. Okay, can we... Let's be realistic here for a second. What do we think? Jacob Berry I still like. Don't really want to give him up in a deal. It's just $70,000. It's not like I'm asking for millions. You know, would they like Rule 5 pick Joe Gray? I moved it a bit. Kemp Alderman, a guy I would definitely consider moving. I do like him, mostly because of the power upside. I think he's a former second round pick back in 2023. Not opposed to giving up Kemp. TJ Rumfield or go with this guy too, sure. Okay, so they really want Alderman, it looks like. Yeah, Marino's too young. And he does have some really nice, you know, elite traits. The power is concerning, but... I think I'd throw in Kemp Alderman straight up. This is basically for the ability to sign that guy. I don't love giving up 19-year-olds, but I think I'll do that here. Just out of curiosity, would they throw in any cash? Because we are a bit strapped, although our budget increased $20 million, so now we are not strapped for cash. No way they're throwing in $5 million, but would not mind the money at this point. Yeah, none of these guys are really worth just opening up a small amount of money, so up $2 million. It's more reasonable. I think we can make this work. This guy's a rough defensive catcher, but kind of has some nice ratings. Chandler Joswak. Cool. You could throw him in for $2 million. So really, Kemp Alderman's the holdup. Don't really want to give him up. What's our scout think? Bubble, yeah, I mean, even if he was developed to 60 power, is he really a major league player? He's still young. I'm going to go for it. Why not? and we have $70,000 more. So if this doesn't work, then it's gonna suck. But yeah, let's give him the max that we can offer, and see what happens. And we did sign him. So Luis Herrera, probably the top player, definitely top on my big board. 95 power upside. Only average scouting. The speed is a concern to stick at shortstop long term, but the range looks good. The intelligence is concerning as well, but he's pretty far along for a 16-year-old. I think he can play in rookie ball at the moment. But we'll wait till our scout gets back with what do you call it? Scouting report. And let's really quickly check in player development. So Joe Boyle does not look like he's going to get there. Fabian Lopez is now frustrated yet again. Again, we're hoping for 3 out of 6. Okay, Conrad Kaysen on track for about a day, and now Rodney Green is frustrated. It's about how you finish. Conrad Kaysen back on track. Do we have our scouting report back? Okay, we do. Looks even better. That's awesome. Okay, cool. So I'm very happy with that. He's 30. Yeah, 30 can definitely play. Let's throw him in the DSL. Yeah, I'm okay with that. So boom, I'm really happy with how that went. I mean, there was a ton of guys that I really liked, but if there wasn't a guy who was generational potentially, I would have, spread that money around a bit, but that guy was just too good to pass up. I should also check in our international complex to Luis Cova. Not sure how he got here. He must have been with the system already. He's 18 years old. Let's throw him in Dominican League. We don't have a ton else here to speak of. This guy's definitely ready. He's a 16-year-old. I mean, he's pretty far along. I'm cool with throwing him. This guy probably needs a bit more work. Control is an issue. Wait on him. Not ready. Definitely ready. Doesn't look like a bad arm either. Probably not ready yet. Although he could probably hang. The control is a huge issue, but that might not even get better, so send him to the DSL. And the rest of these guys, we can leave here for now. We'll reassess when spring starts. Okay, so gotta keep moving forward. Our next update might come end of spring training. We'll see, but gonna sim ahead. We'll be back with an update whenever that is. Okay, so update on. I gotta turn off this fan. Update on development. We had 2 out of 6 hit. So Yuri Perez improved his stamina. That's a big one, up to 60 from 55. And Fabian Lopez, our 19-year-old shortstop prospect, allegedly improved his power. I didn't see any increase here necessarily. I guess it's his current power going from a 20 to a 30. So no increase in his potential, but his current is definitely looking a lot better. Ortega, he never really was on track. Joe Boyle was never really on track. And Rodney Green, disappointing one. He was on track mostly the entire winter, but was not able to pull through. Maybe we'll try again next year. Let's see how he does. I think he'll probably start the year in high A. He played really well in A-ball, so we'll see about that. But yeah, that's an update on that. I guess just a peek behind the scenes of how I do spring training. I'm not playing any of my starters every day. I am playing Jazz because I want him to learn right field a little bit quicker. He's pretty much already there. But yeah, we're getting some guys. Basically, let's see who makes the roster out of these guys. De La Cruz, Ramos are kind of on the, not on the outside looking in necessarily, but I want to see what they've got. and see how much playing time they're going to get. Dane Meyer is a guy who might be on the outside looking in. Xavier Edwards, working him out in right field a little bit. Maybe switch him to left field at some point. But yeah, I want them to improve their versatility. And then I gave my starters one run through the rotation. Sandy got 2 just because he hasn't pitched in a little bit. His stuff did improve, so that's cool. But yeah, I'm going to keep Puck, Rogers, Garrett. These guys are fighting for the final 2 spots in the rotation. Puck would have been locked in if you asked me like halfway through last year, but such a bad end to the year for him. He could be out of the bullpen, and I think he's probably the favorite to work out of the bullpen just because I think he plays up the best there. Rogers and Garrett, more of your traditional, starters with better control and ability to go deep into games. So, yeah, we'll see who wins these final 2 spots out of these 3. But the first 3 are definitely locked in. These guys are just getting a little bit of run. Maybe Schmidt shows a little bit. Blaylock, the young guy who we added to the 40-man this offseason. I want to see what he's got. Dax Fulton, kind of same story with him, to a lesser extent of excitement. But Puck gets hurt. But yeah, we'll go through the rest of the spring training, come back with opening day. All right, so opening day is today. In news in the prospect world, Luis Herrera, number 1 prospect in baseball, at a valuable position. Super stoked for what he can bring potentially. Our owner wants us to play 500 ball. I think that's doable. I don't think our team is great or anything, but I'll show you how the roster kind of shook up. But I think 500 is definitely doable. Let's go through the rest of the prospects while we're on that. So Herrera, number 1. Noble Meyer slots in at number 57. I think he'd be a good pitcher, but I don't know if he's 57 ranked prospect good. Duncan Marston, first-round pick last year. Looks like a pretty good arm. We'll see how he does in his first taste of pro ball here. Luis Cova, he was a guy in our international system. He slots in at number 110, just outside the top 100. Jacob Berry, a guy who just missed the cut on the roster. Had a decent spring, but nothing special. Wes Clark beat him out for a roster spot, as you'll see in just a moment. But he slots in at number 121. Victor Mesa Jr. falls a couple spots to 132. I think he was 110. Wes Clark did make the team. He's ranked number 165. Had an awesome spring training. Matt Ager just squeaks inside the top 200. I think looks like a really good arm. Just a bit away. Ortega down here. He'll retire from this list soon. Luke Adams, a guy we got traded in Milwaukee last season. Crushed in high A for us. And A-ball as well. Really at every level last year. He'll start the year in Double A. Bradley Blaylock had a really nice spring as well. Just did not make the cut. He'll start the year in Triple A. After making 22 starts last year in Double A. Got him in that same trade that we got Wes Clark in last year, I believe, and Luke Adams. What deal was that? Was that the reliever? What's his name? It was in this area. Yes, Tanner Scott. Yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, they all moved up in the prospect rankings since that trade, which is awesome. Actually, that's not true. A couple of them moved up, a couple moved down. But yeah, Tanner Scott, still with Milwaukee. He's signed an extension with them, 2 years, $25 million. Good for him. Okay, so opening day here, Sandy Alcantara will make the opening day start for us. Did not pitch last year, so this will be our first taste to him. Luzardo will start in Game 2, mostly because he was our best pitcher last year. And Yuri Perez in Game 3. That's a crazy 1-2-3 punch. Braxton Garrett and Trevor Rogers also make the rotation. A.J. Puck had a really miserable spring, quite frankly. So, I think the experiment with him as a starter might be over at this point. I'm going to use him as a stopper, though. I think Max Meyer will also slot into that same stopper role, just coming a little bit earlier. And De Los Santos will be a true, kind of setup guy in the 7th. Then we have Anthony Bender, Anthony Maldonado. Sixto Sanchez makes the team. Kind of the last cut. I just felt like I should keep him around for another year, see how he does. And Andrew Nardi, who had a really rough spring, but is a good lefty, I think, in theory. And then Ryan Weathers, another one of these last guys to make the team. I gave him the benefit of the doubt because he had such a good year last year. Notably, where the heck is he? Clark Schmidt had a really, really good spring. He had 2 stinkers, 3 really good starts. I consider that a good spring. He was the last cut. I had to send him down, unfortunately. We just had 14 pitchers. Could not keep him on the team. I really hope to keep him in our system, though. I'm sure he has some kind of opt-out. Yeah, so we need to call him up at some point in April, by mid-April, to keep him in the organization, because I'm sure he would opt out. Looking through our league ranks player-wise, we do not look too impressive. But, we'll see how it works. Hitter-wise, no huge surprises. Let's get rid of this. No huge surprises besides Wes Clark making the team, but he raked in AAA last year. Not too surprising that he made it. Hiriano was good enough. Had a really good end to the spring, so he makes the team as our starting second baseman. Ortega will be at short. We have Mesa, Doyle kind of split the time in center field. Jazz, Meadows, and Sanchez kind of taking the corners and DH spots. Brian De La Cruz will play against lefties quite a bit, mixing in at both corners and DH. And then the big surprise, I guess, is Jace Peterson. Signed him to a minor league deal. Wasn't terribly impressive in spring, but has some good infield ratings and a good leader. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Xavier Edwards was the other guy that I was considering there. So, Edwards will get another shot, I'm sure. And, Peterson, if he sucks, we'll just DFA him. No big deal. So opening day here in Colorado. And Wes Clark, I need to add to the 40. That might be an issue. I don't know if we have any 40-man spots. We do. I think that's the only non-roster invite that we had. Just kidding. Jace Peterson, duh. Now we're out of 40-man spots, so what can we do here? Might be done with Jacob Amaya. I like all these guys, though. Dane Myers actually had a really good spring, so I don't want to get rid of him. Steven Cruz, I still like his tools. I think it's going to be Jacob Amaya, actually. He's our only real shortstop. George Soriano was so bad last year. It might actually be Soriano. Let's see if we can deal him. We have like 2 minutes to finish this video. Okay. I think he'll pass through waivers. I'm really in a race against the clock right now. This is not good. Okay, where the heck did he go? George Soriano. Here we go. Oops. God damn it. Caving under the pressure here. Waving DFA. Okay, cool. Let's go through opening day here. Sandy Alcantara on the mound. Oh my god. I didn't add Jace Peterson. Okay, here we go. I think that's it. There we go. We'll lose 5-4. Not a bad start from Sandy. Max Meyer was good in relief. Decent at least. Hiriano had 3 hits. Good for him. Game 2, Nick Martinez against Jesus Luzardo. And we win 7-5. Jesus Sanchez, 3 hits, 3 ribbies. Chisholm, 2 hits, 2 ribbies. Luzardo, solid start. Weather's not good in relief, but Puck gets a 5-out save. And Game 3, looking for the series win against Colorado, and we do, 6-4 victory. Offense kind of came through that series. I know we were in Colorado, but still, Jazz, a really good game, 3 hits. Hiriano, 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Great start to the year for him. Yuri, a really quality start. Then Mayer and Puck close it out. So, good series to start the year. We're 2-1. in a four-way tie for first place, and we'll come back in next episode and update, at whatever point we jump in. So, thank you for watching. We'll see you then. Goodbye.